Perfect Turd Podcast, episode 172, Lamar, the Octogames.
This is Willy Wonka meets Squid Games meets social media, Joe. It's a crazy game for people that are basically trying to clout chase, and in return, they have to play a deadly game and
Yeah.
probably die.
I thought it was going to be a full-on parody of Squid Games, being that they named it Octogames. It kind of was, but kind of wasn't. I would say this movie was more serious than I was expecting.
Yes, it is.
Well,
Yes.
let's break it down. Our first category is story.
All right. So Jax Pro, he's the social media guy, I guess.
Yeah.
He has this idea that he wants to give up his social media presence to a random person.
Yeah.
And so he hosts this game. He invites these influencers out and he says, "Hey, if you win this game, you get everything I have from on the social media sites and all this kind of stuff, the passwords, all that stuff." For the influencers, however, the problem is that if you don't win certain games, you die.
Yeah. We're going to talk
Yeah.
about the games later, but they're basically children games.
Yes.
So you have to win the game or you die.
Yeah. You get
And
shot or beaten to death.
yeah. And there was definitely an element of the kind of social commentary, like people wanting to be social media famous so bad that they'll participate in this. And then there's that element of now you're in this game, people form alliances, trying to screw the other person out of things and whatnot.
Human nature.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you rate that?
I give it a 1. I was intrigued, Joe. What about you?
I agree. I actually really liked the premise of it. I thought it was like a fun way of kind of doing kind of the same thing, but in a more fun way.
Yes.
Well, there was a lot of characters in this movie, Lamar. Next category is characters.
Okay. We're gonna have to team up on this one. There's Jax Pro. We mentioned.
Yeah. Well,
him.
there's really just there's a bunch, but there's a handful of main ones.
Yes, that's what it is.
Yeah.
There's the guru Squish,
Squish.
who's just a
He's
psychopath.
Well, he's like a reformed criminal that now does like life guru stuff on YouTube, right?
Yes.
But
Yeah.
his former life comes out when he's angry.
Oh boy. Yeah.
Then there's
Ugh.
Carrie. I guess Carrie, you could say, is the main character.
Yes, she is. She wants to be a singer, Joe.
Yeah. And she's kind of like the girl that's just trying really hard to be successful, but she has pure intentions, I guess. And then there's my favorite character, Ruth.
Ruth was very interesting. And I think we have to mention that these characters kind of represent, stereotypes that we see, on YouTube and stuff like that. Because Ruth, what was she doing? She was like a cook.
She has a cooking channel.
She had a cooking channel, but she was a little devilish there. You push her and she will kill people basically. And she's an older woman, so I didn't expect that. So that was very interesting.
I like the part where she tried to seduce a man, like to make an alliance, and nobody wanted to be with her. Lamar, I don't know why.
It's ageism, Joe.
Oh,
it's ageism.
Man. Yeah, but that was a funny part. Then there was the older guy. I can't remember his name right now, but he was the bald older guy that was he was pretty conniving too.
He was.
He was just kind of a what do you snarky, just a devil, I guess.
Kind of like a car salesman.
Yeah.
That's not selling cars. You just don't trust him.
Yeah,
like
just
he can't be trusted. Yeah, he's very shady. Yes.
Yeah. Well, I liked all of the characters. I like that they gave him a little bit of a backstory.
Mm-hmm.
I like the way they were trying to like connive each other and stuff. The interaction. And another character that ended up being kind of important was Jax Pro's girlfriend.
Yeah. Ooh.
Because I guess we won't spoil what was going on there, but let's just say she had her own plans.
She had her own plans. She represented kind of like the hot chick.
Yeah.
Maybe like the Instagram, not the Instagram girl. Yeah, the Instagram girl. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
No, good characters, I thought. I'm giving it 1 point.
One for me as well.
All
Yes.
right. Next category is, and we kind of talked about this in the opening, comedy.
I felt like it started comedic,
Yeah.
but they didn't keep it going.
Mm-hmm.
They even have a character that's called the comedian, and she wasn't funny.
Yeah.
So that was weird. But it kind of has a little bit of satire, but I feel like it got too serious. The
Mm.
tone kind of shifted a little bit to me. Yeah.
Yeah. I thought it was going to be a straight up parody. And then it did turn into kind of a serious movie, I guess, in a way. It still had, I guess, where the comedy was how they were making fun of the characters were like characters,
Yes.
real stereotypical. And I guess that's where the real comedy was. And then it bled a little bit into what our next category is, the games.
Yes.
So I'll give him a half point for comedy.
I think we're going to be right down the line for some reason. I also like a half a point because this could have went a little bit further with the comedy and the satire and stuff like
Yeah.
that. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, we kind of mentioned it. Our next category is, what do we think of the games? There was a lot of games.
This I think is part of the social commentary part
Hmm.
because he mentions someone asked him like, "What's up with the kids games?" He's like, "This is my audience."
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
like
that
the
was good.
lower common denominator because what name the games, Joe? You
Well,
did
the
such a
name.
good
All
job.
right. Yeah, I did. Okay.
Yes.
Well, first of all, I thought the opening scene was great because they're there, they wake up in the thing or whatever. And the opening scene, they're like, well, they don't know what they have to do. They're like, we're going to play a simple game of Simon Says. That was the first game. And then someone did the thing wrong. Hey, Simon didn't say do that. And boom.
Boom.
So that was good.
That was awesome.
Simon Says they did a version of Hopscotch. Where what happened to them if they didn't do that one right?
They basically got killed. They
Just
got
got
shot,
killed.
killed.
Then
Yes.
they did hide and seek.
Yes.
And we didn't mention this. One of the characters was a murderer. The main enforcer of the games was a murderous guy wearing a fox costume.
Is that symbolic of something?
I don't know. Is it?
Foxes, they're sneaky.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
They played tetherball, but the ball had spikes on it to stick into
I
their
like
hand.
that
That was good.
one. That was great.
They did hangman, and they were getting shocked. They did capture the flag, which was the final thing, and then they did a musical chairs as well.
Yes.
So I actually loved the games aspect of it, and I like that. Like you said, the tetherball was probably the funniest one, like a metal ball with spikes on it.
Yes. That was good. Yes.
It was good, and then it was clever because there was some strategy. The girl figured out some strategy to it too.
Mm-hmm.
So, what are you giving it?
One, I will say the only thing I had a problem with was the capture the flag thing. That was weird how it ended, but blah. Everything else was great.
It was a little. We don't want to spoil the ending, but yeah, it was a little kind of like a little lazy.
Yeah,
Would you
it
say?
was.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Well, Lamar, our last category. Now, this movie kind of teasing a sequel, I guess. Do we want to see a sequel? That's the category.
Here's the thing. I like this premise.
Mm-hmm.
I do. The ending of the movie was kind of weird how one of the characters, Jack Pro, ends up. So
Yeah.
it's kind of like how they carry over. If they do a sequel where it's like another person or something like
Oh, you
that,
don't want him.
I don't know because like we don't want to spoil it, but it's just kind of like, oh, he's there. I do like the premise though.
I like the premise. I agree. And I did enjoy the movie. I don't know if I need another one. Honestly.
Really?
Like, I don't know where you can go with it to where it could be that interesting.
I think well, Joe, I say a one, Joe. I would
Okay.
say a one. Yes. I think this is we always talk about like, fleshing out the gimmick, following it. I think you can do more with this, especially I'll say this. They didn't have like a big budget.
No.
A lot of these B movies don't. But I was thinking like if they got like more money, they can make things more interesting.
So I don't think it needs more money. I think you could do the Octogames, but it has to have different stakes. I think,
Yeah.
like you said, I don't know if you need Jax Pro again You might, but it could be someone else. But then in the end, it comes back to the same thing. It's all the same. Are they going to do more kids games? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I
Yeah.
don't see where they can go with it. Give me a premise that will convince me, Lamar. Where
A
can they go
premise
with it?
of what? Okay, well, you can add heads up, 7 up. You can add tag. You can add dodgeball. You could add like kickball, like those type of games. Like maybe like the ball goes off in kickball like as an explosion sometime or something like that. Or
Hmm.
you're like throwing in dodgeball like sharp objects and shit like that at people. Heads up, 7 up, like you have a sniper. Well, they always had snipers, but
Yeah.
if you raise your head up too quick, bam.
Hmm.
And the stakes.
Okay.
This is Lamar's land of ideas. What if this is like a bunch of social media people that are hated and somebody groups them all together and like this is your redeeming
Mm.
thing. If you survive, well, you get to survive, but you need to learn that you've been an a-hole. Like maybe it's like those people that prank people like out on the streets and stuff like that or do goofy stuff. You put them all together.
That could be something. I don't know. What if they went back in time to the ancient, like
No, no,
Athens?
no, 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 no. You can't do that
Yeah, well,
because
hold
social
on.
media wasn't back then. No, no, can't do it.
Because
No.
that's where the Olympic Games, right? So
Yes.
this will be, let's say they go back in time before the Olympics started. And then he forms the Octogames. And that becomes the Olympics in the future. So that explains why we have the Octo Games just becomes a part of society. Like it's our regular every 4 years we do
Why
the
would you
Octo
change it
Games.
from the Olympics though?
Because he went back in time before the Olympics
But
and people
why?
because then it becomes an accepted part of society. You know what, Lamar? I'm giving it 1 point for sequel now.
Fine, do it. Because your goofy ass
Yeah.
idea of
And
I
then they
like
can have like the whole thing like every 4 years like it's like they can have that scene like people get like it's time for the Octo Games. The whole thing.
no,
It's just it's like
no.
and then you see people training like we have some training I'm training for the Octo Games, but they're
You
doing
look
like
for
kids games.
every opportunity to just bring up time travel.
I'm giving it 1 point, Lamar.
I'm giving it
Eh,
1.2. I like my idea better though.
Okay, well, I've tallied the score here, Lamar. It looks like this movie gets a 4.5 out of 5.
Yeah.
One of our highest scores in recent time, I think.
Man, we've been through some duds.
Well,
Man.
does that wrap it up then?
Yes, I was very shocked by like I liked this movie. I was
Yeah,
shocked by I was enjoying it. And so yeah, shout out to the people who made Octo Games. They
yeah.
did a good job.
It was a
Yeah.
pleasant watch. I did have a good time watching it. All
Yes.
right, Octo Games. Peace.
Deuces, no freaking time travel. There you go. You
The
can bring your horn.
Octo Games.
Leave that shit out. No, no.
You
Because
could have it like literally like a training montage, but they're training like for heads up, 7 up. They're like running but going like this.
they didn't have 7 Up back then, Joe.
Doesn't matter. They went back in time to introduce. They just went back in time to introduce the Octo Games into society, so that in ancient Greece they had the Octo Games instead of the Olympics, and it just carried over as a tradition through time. Through the annals of time, Lamar, we have the great hall of Octo Game champions.
Good Lord.